Welcome back to Global War 1939. We just finished off round 6, which is good because this unlocks a few more units for a few of the nations. All right, so looking at Germany, they did go ahead on the last turn. The British and the Americans did land in Normandy, and the Germans were able to expel them with great help of their air force based out of Western Germany, which consists still of 4 tacticals, 5 veterans, and 2 medium bombers. And they survived here for the land forces, 2 light tanks, and an SS mechanized. They had about 10 or so infantry. They all got killed. And then because there was such a light garrison with only 3 units, the British and Americans re-landed, taking those 3 units out. And they currently in northern France have 2 paratroopers, 4 Marines, 5 infantry, heavy artillery, 2 light tanks, 2 commandos, and 5 artillery. That's combined between the British and the Americans. And because of the last turn attack and this turn attack, German High Command went nuts, and they put most, or if not all, of their new material that they just bought in the West. So they maxed out Western Germany and Paris, put a couple more units in Stettin. So they will be moving in to defend France again. I'm not sure if they're going to attack again, because they'll only be able to attack with 6 ground units. Of course, they'll still utilize their air force. They might wait for the infantry in Western Germany. Yes, that does give the Allies kind of a larger foothold, but with the increase of material with those infantry, might be beneficial. We'll see. They may just very well go ahead and attack anyways. In the east, they did move up to Olarkursk. The Russians had a sizable army there, and there was a big clash. So if you remember what they had prior, what they currently have now is 12 medium tanks, 7 artillery, 3 heavy artillery, 6 SS mechanized, 3 SS infantry, and 6 Mark IVs. And then what's in Western Ukraine, which is going to join them, we have 2 Mark Vs, 2 Mark IVs, 3 medium tanks, 2 regular mechanized, 2 artillery, paratrooper, SS infantry, and 4 infantry. Yeah, so they'll be joining up. If they do make the assaults with this into Moscow, obviously they won't be going in with the infantry, just basically armor. And there's 7 artillery and 6 mechanized, plus the other 2 from that battle group. We'll have to take the hits before they get into the armor. Now, this is what's currently in Moscow, which is medium tank, 3 KV-2s, 2 heavy artillery, 4 elite guards, and approximately 30 infantry. I don't know. That's going to be because, well, they lost all their infantry in the first battle. They went in with about 32 infantry and lost them all. Even got into their mechanized and their artillery before the Germans were able to win that battle. So I don't know now if they had their air force in that battle instead of in France, their losses would have been less. But taking out that Anglo coalition was definitely a must, right? So the plan for the Germans right now, debating about attacking or holding and reinforcing before attacking the turn after. Same thing here. Attack now or hold. If they do hold, they're only going to gain 4 infantry, an SS infantry, and a paratrooper. The Russians are going to gain 10 more infantry. So the Russians will gain more than the Germans by holding. And if they hold, then they're going to have to hold again to get even more reinforcements. So if they don't attack now, I can see them backing back into Western Ukraine, taking out Kiev and holding this pocket until they could get a sizable or rebuild their infantry corps. But the longer they hold, then the more Russians' infantry are going to build up. So we will see what they decide. But if they attack and lose, they have nothing to follow up on. And then the Germans are really in a bad spot. So we'll see what they do. And of course, the key to Russia, the other 4 cities, yes, are important for sure. But if you take out Moscow, that's where the bulk of their army is. The rest of the cities will fall very quickly afterward. So we'll see. For the Italians, they did have the French Foreign Legion move and take these 2 territories. So they utilized their 5 transports, brought some material down, landed here, only lost 1 infantry in that battle. They attacked here with a heavy artillery, their bomber, and 2 infantry, and lost both infantry. They went ahead and purchased 2 medium tanks, another heavy artillery, 2 more artillery, and some infantry. So the 5 transports will jump up here, take a bulk of this force, and bring it back into Africa. I think this, combined with this, is a much faster build-up for the Italians than for the UK. So the Italians losing this battle, it seems that the British just gained 2 to 3 turns. So we will see. The light armor here, the 2 medium, and the fighter that the UK had went in and removed the Italian Air Force. So the Italians had 2 fighters and 2 tacticals. So it was kind of a funny battle. So every unit in this battle hit on the first round of combat. Everyone got wiped out right away on the first round. Yeah, so this, and then the South Africans just brought up more material, bought another infantry. They do have $5, so they'll probably build a light tank in here the next turn. So the Germans did come in and sink the 2 transports that were here. Doesn't affect anything for the 8 transport bonus, as the UK have quite a few in the Atlantic, but just to get rid of those 2 units. And basically they're just going to wait here now until if the Italians can open up the strait, and they'll join the Italians in the Mediterranean. 1 more turn until Iraq switches sides. I cannot see the Italians flipping that or getting to it in time, unless they make it a real priority to land here and then here. We'll see. As for the FEC, just another build-up, another purchase. They purchased all infantry and 1 medium tank. They're getting low on their funds, as the Japanese is now convoying them in 3 boxes in the Indian Ocean. And of course, they lost these 3 territories in very early in this game. So their economy is not as strong as it was. They did move up and liberate this Chinese army. I believe the FEC is allowed in China. I know there was a lot of restrictions for the Chinese army, places they can or cannot go. If Captain G or Triple Crown can let me know, or obviously I'll just read through the rules again. But I'm pretty sure this is allowed. If it's not, then we'll just bring those units back, give that back to the Japanese, and adjust China's income, because Japan already got paid out for that territory for this round. We'll just adjust Chinese income, which they currently have $5, so we'll remove 3 if that's not allowed. China is just down to 3 infantry now in 1 territory. The Japanese from up in this region took out these last couple territories, just 1 left in this one, and they'll attack there. The Japanese did have a unit here, but they opted to move out as they only had veteran infantry, and they didn't want to risk getting attacked by the British. And they didn't go up with a big sizable force, as they want the bulk of their army here to put pressure on Siam. All right, so for the rest of Japan, the bulk of their purchase went into their navy. They did utilize their sneak attack and they didn't really gain anything out of it for a land base. They used their sneak attack against the Philippines and Guam, which is just a walk-on. Basically, they just want to get rid of the 2 Marines there without having to worry about casualties on the first round. And they mostly did it not for the gaining of the territory, but for the $35 bonus that they get. So they pretty much used that to buy the 2 battleships, 1 Amato and a regular battleship, restocking their destroyers and getting themselves another loaded carrier. The carrier that was there from the previous turn. So they're want to focus on support vessels, as right now, capital ship wise, they have an Amato, a regular battleship, an Amato, a regular battleship, and then 2 more battleships up here, which is currently in Sea Zone 93. So basically, this entire navy will probably amalgamate and meet up in Guam, and then that will be the standoff with the American Navy. Basically, the plan with the Japanese Navy, they don't necessarily need to engage the American Navy. Basically, go to Guam, capture or put siege to this box here, taking away another $5 from the Americans. Recapture this island would be important. They did come into Dutch New Guinea. They had a scattered of infantry in the islands. They just brought them all together to attack that. They did lose an infantry in the process. Take out these 2 islands. Recapture that. The Anzacs, the only moves they got a destroyer, 2 infantry for their purchase. And they took their navy, what's ever left of it, to take out this island here. Losing an infantry in the process. The Japanese did have a transport that was unprotected. They knew by going here it would get destroyed, but they wanted it for their bonus. So they're going to use this force to capture these 2 islands and use this navy to do so. And they'll utilize their air force they have on their aircraft carriers. So they have 3 fighters with a movement of 5. They should get there quite easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No problem. All right, and basically outside of gearing up here, they did move some more forces towards the Russian border. So you can probably see this turn, the next turn, Japan declaring war on the Soviet Union. Now, I'm going to have to look at the rules again. Because right here, it's undefended. They just walk in if they're at war. So in that scenario, it's assuming the Germans hold, let the Japanese capture this territory, 1 or 2 over here. What would happen to their capital if if this doesn't exist in Soviet hands. We have to re-look at the rules again. If Triple Crown Captain G can give me a note or two on that situation, but I'm sure they've got it covered in the rules. All right, so for the Americans, they do have a sizable navy. I'm not sure if it's as big as a combined Japanese navy, but it is sizable enough that they don't need to put much money in here. They did go ahead and get another carrier and a couple more fighters. They're going to put some more escort vessels in there, a couple more destroyers and cruisers to bolster. Right now they have 4 carriers and 3 battleships. Yeah, so maybe another 1 or 2 battleships would not hurt. They are good for taking the hits. Now, they do lose some of their combat value by doing so. But we'll see. As the bulk of their money, the Americans and the British are doing a German first strategy. So they don't want to take too much money away from the Atlantic. They did go ahead and activate Brazil. So they inherited a coastal battleship and another transport. So the plan with the Brazilians, they're going to leave 1 guy behind on each turn to move in here, to get $2 more over the course of the next 2 turns. The other 4 are going to load up on the transports and head for Europe. Or they might land in Africa now that the French Foreign Legion are gone. There's nothing stopping the Italians from walking in and collecting $3 more over the course of 3 turns. So the Americans might drop their 4 guys here and then send their transports back to the States. Yeah. Now, of course, the 4 Brazilians here are not really going to do a lot of damage. More of a defensive force to hold this income for the UK. So this is going to be an interesting next turn. Lots of decisions and risks to be made, especially by the Germans. They got 2 risky battles coming up. Very key must-wins. If the Germans lose either or both, that could be the beginning of the end for the Third Reich. But we will see. All right, thank you again for watching, and you have yourself a great day.